You are not doing enough to help the fight against corruption. That is the charge of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to tell civil society organizations as a dialogue on issues of national interest. Come July 2008, Ekiti will elect a replacement for Governor Ayofayose of Ekiti, and in September, similar exercise will be conducted to replace his counterpart Rauf Aregbesola in Osun State. Many thanks for joining in, everyone. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbale in Abuja. Well, let's begin tonight with some of the stories coming from the National Assembly, precisely on the lower chamber. Today, on the floor of the House of Representatives, a familiar drama played out when two lawmakers dumped their party, the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to join the All Progressives Congress, APC. Sefaniah Jisalo and Yusuf Tijani will represent Amak Buhari Federal Constituency of the FCT and Okene Ogorimagongo Federal Constituency of Kogi State, respectively. In their respective letters, attributed their defection to division and the various state chapters of their party. The APC members of the party liked the idea of the lawmakers' defection. They welcomed them with open arms, but the PDP members kicked against it.
Mr. Speaker, we are all aware today. Mr. Speaker, we are aware PDP is one, and there is no division in PDP.
What division is
but Mr. Speaker, because we believe in the rule of law, because we believe in the rule of law, this matter shall be taken to court. And I hope these honorable members will be ready to come and defend themselves. But we are not going to allow it to lie down. We are going to take it to court, and both of them must vacate their seat, because the judiciary is just, and we believe the judiciary shall do justice to us. Mr. Speaker, I so observe.
Well, those are the reactions of the lawmakers, but the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, gave this verdict.
In a political party is a question of facts and no question of law. And facts will vary according to circumstances of the case. The circumstances that may lead to Zephaniah or Tija's defection may not be the same in the case of the other case that you referred us to. So we'll now allow the judiciary to do their work, examine the situation, and tell us whether there was division or not, and then we can enforce their decision, please. So let's not belabor this issue. That's my ruling.
This is a familiar scene in the National Assembly, and the PDP had in many occasions threatened to go to court. But let's keep our fingers crossed to see how this will all pan out in the coming days and how the parties get to address this matter. Well, it doesn't happen quite often to see activists and policymakers in the same room, but the important dialogue cannot be ruled out in checks and balances. Civil society organizations met with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. They were blunt, and the Vice President did not mince words in his response, as it takes questions bordering on national security, anti-corruption, child rights, bailout to state, marginalization, and other issues of interest. When the civil society organization were presenting their case, they were very blunt with some of the issues, and the VP also responded. Take a listen.
Hate speech and threats against citizens of our different ethnicities and religions from whatever part of the country they are spewed out from must be equally confronted and punished as a deterrent and consequence of unacceptable conduct. On the economic front, it is important to state that the living conditions of our people have significantly nosedived, especially since this administration took over power from its predecessor, on May 29, 2015.
The truth of the matter, I mean, I came into government with what I thought was a fairly clear notion of the extent of corruption. But it's impossible for you to understand how deep this issue is. And just look at scale. You have 30 billion US dollars in your reserve. Just probing the military expenditure alone in a period of 4 years, almost $15 billion is unaccounted for. Now that's almost half of your reserve. There's nowhere in the world where that happens. And somebody just says, well, by now we should have forgotten about that. It is money. This is the money that's supposed to have been used for infrastructure. There is you can't point to any major infrastructural achievement. When oil was at $100 to $115 a barrel, you can't point to a single major infrastructural project. Where is it? All of that money somehow disappeared. And when that happens, it is then the business of the government that comes to not only account for all of that in terms of deficits in infrastructure, deficits in everything. Look at salaries in the States. Oil was going at $100 to $115. When we got into office, 2/3 of the states were owing salaries 6 months and over. 2/3 of the states. Now, if you have that kind of situation, you are bound to then begin to look at bailouts, justice we've done, loans, and see how you can support the states. Because the federal government only has this territory called Abuja. The rest of Nigeria is the Federation of Nigeria.
Well, that is a side of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. He did say a lot within about 2 hours when he took up to the podium. Well, after all said and said, did the CSOs leave the room satisfied? We then asked them.
I think that the Vice President in the room listened. As a government, I think there's quite a lot to do in terms of government responding to concerns of citizens across various areas. And it's not just the Vice President, it's really that you have to have all agencies and officials of government listen to what citizens are saying.
I think actually that it was a useful dialogue. Because, yes, it is true that there is clamor on some of the streets of Nigeria, but I think that what the Vice President did in the way he responded to the issues that have been raised by civil society was, to me, it reaffirmed my belief in the fact that government does understand that there are problems and that it has answers to some of the problems. I don't think all the questions were answered.
I think that from the response given by the Vice President to some of the questions that were put to him, it is very, very clear that government is informed and the government is in touch with what is going on out there. The only thing is that the Vice President has said that the people should engage with the government, that people should keep hope alive, and that the government is working round the clock to make sure that government policies are better explained and that government policies are implemented for the good of the people of Nigeria.